So we can create a new chat and it'll ask for permission. And now we have a session in here. I can go back to here. I can go here. Everything works. Everything looks nice. It's all cool. So let's do, can you write? Oh, I should have done this first. Okay. Hello all. So this time I come with a new idea. So let's start with Claude, which I have open right here. Everyone knows Claude, maybe. It's a competitor to ChatGPT. It's an AI LLM. You can ask it questions and it'll give you answers that are hopefully correct. And this is all well and good, and I am no stranger to AI. So we started using it at work, kind of. We have to, long keeping the details hidden, we have to use a special version of it. We can't just use this website, we have to use a special vendor's version of Claude because we have to follow rules and regulations on top of normal ones. So, this led with a few problems. We can't use the Claude website at all. We can't. And that's because the way we log in is different. We don't just log in to Claude with our username and password. We log in to a different tool with our work email and password and stuff. But it's kind of different. So basically how it's set up is we can't go on Claude.ai, the website, because it doesn't have a place for us to log in properly. That dually goes for the desktop app they released a little bit ago. We can't use that either. What we can use is Claude Code, and if those who don't know, it's just you type in Claude, and you get this, and it's Claude but meant for coding, which is convenient for us because we are a software company. But it has issues. For one, it's a terminal, and my coworkers, it sounds ironic, I guess, but they don't like the terminal, and you'd expect the younger of us, the younger developers, to prefer the GUI application or a website compared to a terminal, but no, it's actually the younger group likes the terminal, and the older groups prefer a GUI program, not a website, definitely, but they do want a GUI program. So they don't want to use the Claude terminal, and I don't even like it either because it's weird to do this in a terminal, and sure you can have text with color, but it's not as nice as you can't do as much as you can in something that supports more than it's just how it is, right? So we can't do that. So it's not that great, and also it doesn't really have a history. You have to save your own. I had to have a document with all my sessions and a brief explanation of them, so I knew what they were, so I could go back to them. And it doesn't save your text. It's just the terminal. Whatever the terminal does, the program does. So for me, it doesn't save my text if it goes off screen. It's gone forever. I can't get it back. There's no way to recall it personally and look back at what it said. And so a lot of my coworkers were told, "Well, just use VS Code." Well, again, they're not really fans of VS Code. They prefer Visual Studio Raw. The one meant for C, and C++ and C# and all those things. So they don't really like VS Code. They never use it, but they have to use VS Code, so that's fine. So they go into VS Code, and they're given this, right? And they start typing here and asking it questions, and they kind of have it set up like I do right here, where they kind of close out everything else. They don't care, and they just go. And that's kind of a problem too. It's weird to use. This is just an extension. It's made by Anthropic, the company behind Claude, but it's kind of weird. It's a weird feeling to use an extension of another program just to do it, and it's like it's Electron. Like everyone makes fun of Electron in Visual Studio Code. It's just how it is, right? It's weird. Also, they've definitely improved this since when I first started my program, or writing my program like 2 months ago or something. What I'm going to talk about after this long rant. Um, they fixed it, soon after, but this we are able to log into and use, but before it didn't save your sessions, like it didn't work. You couldn't go back and see things. You couldn't resume a session. You couldn't see a session. You couldn't copy text. You still can't copy text. And it just has all kinds of other problems that are like, man, did a company worth doing that much really make an extension this bad? And the extension's all closed source, so like I can't make pull requests or contributions being like, hey, I'm making your thing better, right? I can't do that. So I need something. And that led me down, well, what if I just make my own, right? The whole, if you want to go with, well, fine, I'll do it myself. So, that's what entitled me to do all this work. And, it gets interesting. And this was before the big open source leak. I haven't even touched their source code at all for Claude Code, so I don't know anything about it. So you'd wonder then, because of that, how did I know? How did I interact with Claude? Did I use a public API, or did I log in, or did I do some screen scraping or web scraping, or what did I do? Right? Well, the deeper idea of it, I don't want to get into, but something like it will be on another video because I had to write my own tooling to do it, and I've seen other people try similar things or complain, so I'll probably make a thing on that. But this had the issue. I'm like, well, VS Code does something, right? Because it's doing something. So what's VS Code doing? Well, VS Code under the hood is just using Claude Code. Again, my problems that I've become to gain with Visual Studio Code, or like the whole web in a bundle thing. So VS Code, the extension, what they do is they actually put Claude Code, like the binary, inside their extension folder. So it's just sitting there, right? It's just a program called Claude sitting there, and they call to it and reference it. And that's great because then they don't have to hope that you have it installed. They can just use theirs that comes bundled. And it's their company. They can do whatever they want. So that's fine. But I was like, well, if they're just doing that, and they're just interacting with Claude Code, the app, Claude, why can't I? So I created special tooling to see how Visual Studio Code interacts with Claude Code. And I use that as a basis to do it myself. And my tool does a similar thing. I don't package Claude Code. I don't mess with it or modify it in any way. I don't touch it. And I am not doing anything with their code that is bad. I'm just kind of seeing what Visual Studio Code is sending it, and sending it the same stuff, and then I get things back, and I see what it gets back. And it's interesting because the VS Code extension, they don't check the signature or the author or the creator or anything on the program. They just make sure it's called Claude. So you could really do some pretty nasty stuff if you wanted, but that's neither here nor there. So I was like, okay, I can work with this. So I worked through, and then I did what VS Code does, and then I added other things. And speaking of VS Code, they do some other weird things, like they have, like, you'd wonder how do they authenticate? Well, it's just using the authentication most of the time from the Claude Code program, the terminal program. But sometimes they do things outside of that. So I looked through their VS Code extension, and they're referencing. So Claude Code stores your token, or like I guess you could say your credentials or password. On Windows, on Windows and Linux, it just stores it in a publicly available folder, and anyone can read it. So, like, I mean, this is like kind of another attack vector for an attacker. Like, they could, read your token and maybe do something. I didn't really dig too much into it. Not my circus, not my monkeys kind of thing. Um, but something to know. Mac is a little better, because I'm on Mac. It's a little better. They store it in your Mac keychain or your generic password, whatever. So it's a little more secure, but it's still like, it's not great. So, you can use that information to get some additional stuff, but that's not important for my thing. So what did I do right after this? After these 11 minutes, this is becoming a long video, but that's fine. So after this time, what did I do? Well, I made a program called Claude Code, referencing on Claude Code, and it's like a cove. It's like a cove, like it's all your Claude bots sitting together. I kind of did it like this style. I'm pretty happy with the design. I just say I slopped it, whatever. But I might need to change the name to something else, because I feel like if this gets popular, they might complain like, oh, it has our name. And anyway, so let's start it and see what happens. So I launch it, and it works. That's great. Good start. We can expand it, and I have Claude Code, and here we have our conversations. We have our prompt. We have everything you're used to. I have settings, so you can do light mode, dark mode. I have it on system where it'll copy what the system is doing, but we can set to light mode, and nice. I can do stay awake while working. So basically, these are like, I've added things that actually, even if the VS Code extension is better, I have done things to still make this more suitable. It's weird, but I like it, kind of. So one thing right here, and I even have like browse the executable. I'm not packing the executable, so it just looks for it, and if it can't find it, then it'll ask you like, hey, I can't find it, where'd you put it? But anyway, so stay awake while working is basically something that VS Code doesn't do. Is how typically when I'm working on this, but I'm like needing to do other stuff like, make food or get ready for the next day of work or whatever, I'll have like one of my family members just kind of jiggle the mouse every so often, so my Claude Code doesn't like stop working because my computer went to sleep. And there's ways around it, yes, I know, but it would be nice if VS Code or whatever, or Claude Code, just kind of stayed awake when it knew it needed to, because it has that power. So I have this thing. It's not fully tested for the stay awake, but it's good enough for me, and it'll stay awake while working. Another thing I implement is it'll beep when it requires your permission, or it'll beep when it's done. Just, other things I've noticed that it could use. So if we go here, right, I start a new session. That's cool. Let's do a little more of a tour. So there's new session. You can click this button to create a new session. You can delete a session, obviously. You can do a folder. We'll get to that later. And then down here, I have something really cool. It's your session. It's your usage. It's your weekly and 5 hourly. They call it your session. But I'm at 6% for my 5-hour session. It'll reset at 2:10 a.m. Isn't that cool? This one, it'll reset at 10 a.m. because, it's Sunday and it's going to reset soon. But I made it look all fancy and stuff, right? I tried really hard. And I kind of copied the color scheme a bit of Claude, but that's fine, and it's all for Claude. And I might make this thing for other AIs, but this is meant for me, and my work uses Claude, so that's why I styled after. I might change the theme, though, to like Dracula, because I'm quite a fan of my Dracula theme. But let's start with another thing that bothers me about Claude VS Code, and kind of Claude Code, but more VS Code, is they have a system prompt in there So when you ask it a question like, what's the color, why is the sky blue, or something like that, it'll be like, and it doesn't really do this as much, but it'll be like, oh, well, this isn't related to your current folder session, your current project you're working on, but I will happily answer the question for you. And then it'll answer. I'm like, do you want me to create a Python script demoing this usage? Like, no, I just wanted a question answered, right? Like, nothing fancy. And then another thing it'll do is it will like my boss complains that it'll always try to create just files. Like, it's just always trying to like, oh, you want, like, I want to know how to do this. Oh, do you want me to do it on your code base? Do you want me to create files? Like, no. I just want it to do it. So what he'll do is he'll generally create a folder in his computer just called garbage, and then he'll open it with Claude Code or the VS Code extension or whatever, and then he'll start typing there. And if it does stuff, it does stuff. Who cares? You can delete the folder anyway. But it's that extra work of doing that. So for me, a new session, it just gets a random folder that won't stay forever, and it's read only, meaning Claude can't just start throwing files in there willy-nilly. So let's ask it an unrelated, even though this is Claude Code, let's ask it a question that's not programming related. So like something that kind of tripped me up when I first started this is, what is the difference between cave and cove, right? So now it's going. I have an interrupt button, and I have these, like, the Claude is thinking, Claude is manuring, manifesting, right? All that. But mine are all cave themed, because I kind of going for a cave theme, and a cove is close enough. So like, whatever. Don't. That's the least of the problems, right? So it's going, and I feel like it's a little slower than VS Code. That's something I'll look into at some point, but we just let it go and wait. And then wait. So this was I spent a lot of time on the UI, but I wanted this to look nice and be usable, and I mainly doing this for my work, and like, I want things to be as clean as possible. Should have done this first. So we keep waiting. And there, now it's going, it does the whole thing, it looks fancy and cool. So it has markdown support, so it can, do all the fancy markdown stuff that you see in AI websites and stuff. You can copy it, something you couldn't do in other things, in other tools, and you can even copy your message, because why not, right? All that. So let's work on the project. So we're gonna do this, and let's do I don't want to show anything. Let's go here. I don't think there's anything in here. And then we'll create a new folder. We'll call it demo. I hope I don't forget I put this here. And then here. So now I created a project. And this is something that doesn't really work in VS Code. In VS Code, it just uses your innate file system. And it just knows the project based on wherever you are. But like, what if you like don't want to open another VS Code instance, right? That's kind of stupid. So here I have this. It tells me where it is. It has a memory, because Claude actually has a memory, and I was getting in the way of debugging, because it's like, oh, I already did this for you, because I kept asking the same question over and over. So I just add a button to delete the memory, so then it doesn't like say, oh, I've done this, and it's like, wait, my changes aren't here. Let me try it again, right? It's like, you can delete a project, of course, so we can create a new chat, and it'll ask for permission. And now we have a session in here. I can go back to here. I can go here. Everything works. Everything looks nice. It's all cool. So let's do, can you write? Well, I should have done this first. Okay, so I'm back. It's the next day. I was running into a bug where things were happening that shouldn't. But I fixed such bug, and now we can do this again. So I'm going to properly do this, and then we're going to go to Documents, Code, then Claude Code. Okay, so there. Okay, so now I have. Okay, so now I have a demo folder, and this has a path for it. So I'm going to create, and this is just right here. So now I'm going to do. Can you? And we're gonna let it go, and it'll take time. Okay, so we're back, and now it's asking for permission because you know it does. And here we can see the thinking, right? What it was thinking. Here's a little basic diff of what it's doing. So it's adding a file to a directory. So I'm going to click yes, and it'll continue to think. And there, it created, and it's runnable. And I can say, all right, so here it is. And if we look, it's exactly what it said it would be. Cool. So as you can see, things have changed because it's the next day, but we have session time, we have the weekly I haven't hit, and all is cool. And you know, if I do this, let's say, are you sure you want to delete this? I can delete the memory because that was getting in the way of testing, right? So I'll just delete the memory. Now it doesn't remember what it did in this folder. And you know, that's it. And notice how it beeped when it was done, and yeah, all is good. Okay, so let's do a diff. So let's do instead of hello world, can you say something? Can you have it print else? Now you wait again. Okay, so then here we have a diff, right? It's showing different things. And I'll just say yes. And there, look at that. I think that's about it. So, I guess let me know what you think, if there's any features I'm missing. I know I wanted to work on plugins and skills and have a nice way of displaying them, you know, for a project and stuff, but I never use them personally, so I never really care. And then I might want to have it... I might need a few things to clean up on, and I don't know. I guess let me know what you think of it.